And I woke up one day and I said, hey, I'm going to stop waiting for someone else to make it happen for me.
It sounds like that is how you built the business.
Having these dreams of saying, I'm going to go be an entrepreneur, everyone looked at me like I was crazy.
I'm living proof of it. If nothing else, I proved it. You can do it.
I'm not trying to sell you the house. I'm trying to sell you changing your life. And here's the tools I have to help you do that.
You went after relationships on a mission to educate. So let's dive into this, if you would. Back up, and if you would, tell me just a little about yourself and how you got in real estate.
My grandpa, he worked in real estate actually with Keller Williams. Probably when you guys first started, I knew being a salesperson was just kind of something that my family did. My mom sold jewelry, she sold cars. I kind of found an escape through planning the future and thinking about the future and just researching different ways I could essentially change my life as much as a 14-year-old or 15-year-old or 16-year-old can do.
Sure.
And so it was always kind of in the back of my head that I wanted to get into business and I wanted to lead people and I wanted to inspire people. And essentially I knew I wanted to be a leader. I was told as a child that I was bossy and, the negative connotations that come with having a strong personality.
Yeah.
And I kind of along the way had the epiphany that I can take those things and they don't have to be a negative thing. You can have a strong personality and you can find the good in that to be a leader and to lead people. And so in high school, that's kind of where I clung on to this idea that I was going to be a business owner or a business leader at some point. And that's so silly because I was in poverty and I had a single mom and I was homeless. So having these dreams of saying, I'm going to go be an entrepreneur, everyone looked at me like I was crazy. So fast forward, I was studying business and communications. I also took on 3 full-time jobs where I was getting managerial experience and business experience. And 2 years in, I realized I was getting more business experience from those jobs than I was from the university. One of those jobs, we had someone at the front desk who signed up for real estate school. And she came to work telling us how excited she was to get her real estate license. And I was in the moment in my life where I perfectly coordinated all of my hourly jobs that I had 2 full-time jobs and a part-time job that was sometime full-time. I got excited about that idea of, hey, why don't I go sell houses instead of memberships? Because even when I was selling the Massage Envy memberships, I would sell them in a way that here's how I can make it work for you. Here's how I can change your life with this membership. Here's how you can save money. You can take care of your health. And so that's how I always approached that. Sales was never chasing the sale. It was, how can I make your life better? How can I improve it? So I fit online real estate school into that 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. time frame. And I finished it fairly quickly. And that's how I got into real estate.
Did you just drop your jobs, or did you just add that as a 4th job or a 3rd job or a 2nd job?
The first year, I just added it in there. And that's also about the time that I met my husband. So you add in a new relationship into that.
Wow.
I added it in there. My first sale was actually my best friend. She supported me. But I think I total had 3 sales that first year. Because again, I was trying to make it work, not giving it my full time, which don't get me wrong, it can be done. But again, that many hours in the day spoken for, it's nearly impossible. So
it's nearly impossible.
I tried to make it work. I wasn't really making it work. So that first year is kind of a scrap in my book. I sought out this other team that they were military spouses, which I myself and my husband's active duty military. And they were kind of doing what I wanted to be doing, which was they looked like they were having fun and that they were building a community and they had a community with each other. And I knew that's kind of what I was searching for, was a community, whether it's a community at work or a community with our clients or whatever that may be. So I started off with them and I learned a lot of great things from them. They did have that community with their clients. They had exactly, again, the ideas that I had in my head that I wanted to be a part of and I wanted to be doing. And I knew I just needed other people to do them with. They actually asked me to quit my other jobs, to leave my other jobs. So that was kind of my transition. I went to them for help and I wanted someone to say, this is what you got to do. And when you got to do it, go do it. I'll make sure you're doing it. I needed that community. And that didn't happen. And so I went a couple months without those jobs, without selling any houses. And I woke up one day and I said, hey, I'm going to stop waiting for someone else to make it happen for me. I've made all of these things happen in my life. I need to go make it happen. And so I kind of came up with my own marketing idea, my own networking, my own, I came up with this idea, and it was really that I was passionate on educating about the VA loan. I was passionate about approaching people like I did with the massage membership, which is, I'm not trying to sell you the house. I'm trying to sell you changing your life. And here's the tools I have to help you do that. The VA loan has no regulations around an age requirement for buying a house or any of that. And so I realized these soldiers who are 18 years old, they can buy their first house with no money down. And when they have to leave in 2 or 3 years, they can turn it into a rental. And then they can buy another house at another duty station. And now they have an investment property. I got very passionate about helping people figure out how to smartly make those sorts of decisions with the benefits that, are provided to them for being military families.
Does the VA not sit them down and fully educate them?
Mm-mm. No, honestly, the largest source of education out there is USAA and Veterans United, which, as you know, are mortgage companies. I think I was having 5 conversations a day when I had this split idea of, hey, stop trying to sell a house, just start educating people. You don't need to be chasing the sale. The sale will happen. And so I then had the mindset of, I'm going to talk to 5 people, 10 people a day, just to ask them if they know that they can use the VA loan. And 9 out of 10 times they said they didn't know, and they thought they had to wait until that final duty station where they were finally ready to settle down until they could use the VA loan. And I got high on that. That was such a rush for me to hear people say they don't think it's possible. They didn't think they could do it. And I could come in and I could say, it's possible. Like, here's this thing I have for you. And it's the greatest thing in the world. And so I got really excited. And within a month, I was closing 5 houses a month just off of those conversations of educating people.
Yeah. I mean, it's such an amazing benefit, right? I mean, it's like the benefit of all benefits. And anybody that would deserve it, it would be our servicemen and women. I mean, there's no question about it. No question about it. And the VA just isn't set up to care at that level, are they? I mean, I'm not saying that as a negative to them. They're just not set up to give advice on what to do.
There's so many misconceptions out there around it, such as you can only use it once, or you have to have a certain credit score, or you can't rent it out. So in that time period where I started getting closings quickly, I was still on that team. And I went to them one day because, again, they were great women. They were great at what they did. I was their first agent they hired. So I went to them and I said, I have all the respect in the world for you, but I don't know what I'm doing here because I'm building this business over here and I haven't talked to you guys in 3 weeks. They looked at me and they said, we're surprised you didn't do this sooner.
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether that was a compliment or an insult, because to me, if you were expecting that, why wouldn't you tell me that? I don't know. I still to this day don't know how I take it. And I do respect them for who they are. And I took a lot from that experience, both good and bad, that again, I implemented into the PCS Pro team as we have it today. So yeah, I started the team and I hired brand new agents. I got flooded right away with people wanting to do what I did. And so I sifted through that a little bit and I narrowed it down to 3 really amazing girls who they wanted to change their lives and they needed my help to do it. And again, that is my whole mission in life, is just changing as many lives as I can in whatever way that I can. I want to leave someone more educated and equipped than when they found me. And so they got licensed and it grew from there. We started in Colorado with those 3 brand new licensed agents. They all immediately saw not normal success. Within 6 months, I think they were all closing 3 to 5 houses a month on average each.
Yeah.
Within 6 months, we expanded to our first location and we haven't really looked back since.
It sounds to me like you immersed yourself in the community, and through seeking relationships, simply because you care and you were looking for friends and connections. You found yourself in an, oh, by the way, did you know you could do this conversation?
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like that is how you built the business. You did not go out and, if you read the book if someone wrote a book on how to go lead generate,
right,
it would rarely say what you said. I mean, it would say it, but it would say it as a footnote. It would say it as a footnote, and it would say, no, you should go knock on doors. You should go do this. You should go do that. And you went the opposite direction. You went after relationships on a mission to educate.
Yeah. And I want to add on to that, not artificial relationships, because that is becoming, I think, more commonly taught. Hey, go make friends, go host these networking events, you'll get sales out of it. And I think the important thing to really drive in there is you have to be authentic, and you have to want that friendship regardless of what you get out of it, regardless if they ever buy a house or not, or they ever share your name again. You can't be chasing the end result. There are some agents out there, and it's not even just real estate, but you do see it where
in life.
Oh, well, if I make friends, they'll go buy a house with me, or they'll go buy a car with me. And that's the only conversation they're interested in having. Yeah,
they're using that as a means to an end. You know, when I got real estate, I sold 6 houses in my first month in the business in a city I'd never been in. Closed 5 of them, by the way. 1 didn't close. When we started Keller Williams in 1983, one of the first 10 agents to join and become a newly licensed agent was Jeanette Edmonds, number 6.
Number 6.
Yeah.
Because I bet that you remained in touch with her.
Of course. Yeah. I learned early on that real estate was an opportunity to give, and just don't worry about if you're going to get paid. Just go help people. Because what you discover early on in life, if you do that, is it ultimately always works out. You don't have to worry about the money. Just worry about the people and make sure they're okay. And whatever they need, they get. And in the end, whatever is going to be your reward will show up. Have a nice day. Exactly. It's kind of I know that sounds airy-fairy, but your life is proof that it's not airy-fairy at all. It may seem like it's not directional, but that's not fair. It's just give. And then whatever you get will be fine.
Well, and you don't know where that is going to come from either, right? So you can't do the one direct action expecting the one direct result. You do the action and you don't care what result comes back. You just keep doing it. You might get 10 different results from that action that if you weren't tracking and you don't know.
Well, it's the law of numbers and time. And that is, if you only go to help one person, it may take 30 years for that to go full cycle and something happen in your life as the result of you helping. But if you go out and help enough people in time, there's a groundswell of men and women that want to give back. And if they need help and they were going to buy or sell real estate, and I never worried about myself. I never thought about it. I've set goals for myself. But in the end, the goal was really around helping people. The transactions, they just show up.
It's 2 separate things.
Yeah, that's right. It's 2 separate things. And you don't have to really worry about it. It's actually just the law of numbers. Well, the other thing that I heard was that you allowed people into your life if they matched your mission and they matched your culture. If they did not understand what you're saying, they would not be a good fit to be in business with you.
You can teach skill. You can't teach culture and passion and Yeah.
I think it's really important. I mean, I think that your passion for your mission is phenomenal. And I think that understanding that you can't teach mission, you can't teach culture, you can only align with it. Is a big, it's really important.
Exactly. Yeah. How are you a company that's based on your mission if you're not making sure that your mission's aligned with everyone?
100%. That's exactly right. Well, you can't be a company on a mission if in fact everyone in it doesn't
There's
share.
20 different missions.
You can't do it. And you will no longer be a force of nature. Okay. So talk to me about expanding then. How did that happen? That sounds like it happened organically to you.
Yes and no.
Okay.
So I started the team. I knew I wanted to have the team. We at the time physically lived in Colorado. My husband was stationed at Fort Carson there. I went to my first family reunion a week after I departed that previous team. It was, again, all kind of a whirlwind, which is just the story of my life. This was my first family reunion with Keller Williams. I attended not knowing what I just signed up for, essentially, because the announcing my team, getting everyone in my inbox, kind of meeting organically. I didn't really do formal interviews. I took them to coffee or to lunch and just wanted to know who they were as people. That's how I narrowed it down to those 3 women. just who they were as people. Again, I can teach you skill. I just need to know that I jive with you as a person and you got a good heart. And they did. And we went to New Orleans to go to family reunion in 2019. And I heard Ben Kinney spoke a couple times, and I was like, this is interesting. Expansion's an interesting thing. I think I want to see what that looks like. And so I kind of attached to that idea of, why not set our sights on the entire military community? And in that time frame also is when we found out we were PCSing, which, as it is in our team name, PCS, it means permanent change of station. So it's when the military moves you to your next place of employment, or as the military calls it, duty station. And so we were going to El Paso, Texas. It's an important piece because it was when I had to learn how to remotely lead, because I did not hire a team leader to replace me in Colorado. I packed up. We moved to El Paso a couple months into the team existing. I worked in my home in El Paso, Texas. We did everything on Zoom. I led these brand spanking new agents remotely. I think I came to Colorado, or I went to Colorado maybe once a month or once every 2 months, just for a couple days, mainly just to check in with them and, morale boost them, kind of a thing. It was not so much they needed me there for the trainings. I learned very quickly how to be a remote leader.
I got you. No, and how long were you in El Paso?
We lived there for a total of a year, but in that time frame of living there is when we started expansion.
I got you. Well, you started expansion, or you basically were expansion because you now lived in El Paso and your team was in Colorado.
So yeah, I guess it was like expansion, but again, we didn't start a team there in El Paso. So I did seek out our first couple locations via just agents that I had networked with across the country that were, other military agents that I'd been friends with on Facebook. And I reached out to them and I said, hey, this is this crazy idea I have. I have nothing to show for it yet, but I do know I have these 3 agents that I just, taught how to be successful fairly quickly. I think we can duplicate it. Do you trust me? They did see success. I will say that. They saw success. They sold a good chunk of homes. We parted ways just for different reasons a couple months into it. But in that time frame, we expanded to a couple more locations. So I definitely did not follow the traditional advice of perfect one location, put it in a box, duplicate it once, perfect it, put it in a box, do it again. I think it was a 6-month period where we had our first 5 or 6 expansions all at once. And I don't know if you're picking up or not, but a big pattern of mine is I like brand new agents that don't know what they're doing and they don't have any experience. They don't know what to expect, the fresh eyes kind of a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And those locations, they got into production pretty quickly with those same tools that I taught myself when I was that what do I do now agent. And then I taught those agents with the first location. And
well, you almost have to. I mean, yeah. By the way, I'm with you 100%. I for most of my career, I preferred new agents, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But for what you're intent on accomplishing worldwide, it's going to be mainly new people because you're not going into the real estate gene pool. You're going into the military gene pool. Yeah. Well, that's, it's so natural.
Well, and oftentimes people talk about how quickly we've grown or what we've already accomplished, and that blows them away. But if I told people how many recruit leads we currently have in our system right now, and how many people we turn away, and how many people ask us to join a city that we're just not ready to join yet, that's the biggest thing. We've grown fast, but we've grown fast with a major foot on the brake, still growing to what we've grown to. It's still very controlled, right? If we wanted to go out and recruit every city, we'd probably have 10,000 agents already. It's just,
that'd be a mistake.
It dilute, I think, the importance of our mission and the importance of because again, the mission is twofold. It's changing the agent's life and it's changing the client's life. We have a phenomenal leadership team now that they do the training, they do the hand-holding. I've trained them and now they train others. And so that full circle moment has kind of come to pass where the amount of time and care that I put into the first couple agents and the amount of time and care that they put into the agents that we have today, that's just It's a full-time job. And if you went out and you hired 500 agents or 5,000 agents overnight.
The danger of that, the danger for you is something that can't happen. And that is the dilution of the mission, the dilution of the culture, which means it has to go, it's going to have to go at a pace, at the pace of the development of your leaders. As they develop, the pace will quicken.
It continues on again, right? They develop leaders under them, and those leaders can go impact lives and so on and so forth. And so we're moving quick and we're growing big, but it's still behind the scenes, it's still a very controlled growth.
Yeah, for what you're doing, I hope that it's always somewhat controlled, right? It's, on large rural properties, they have this thing called controlled burns, where they will literally, they will set the land on fire, but it's somewhat controlled. It's out of control, but it's in control. I would probably imagine that your business will be a controlled burn.
It's a great description of us. Yeah. Especially because I don't know whether this is a pro or con. Honestly, I think it is what has gotten us somewhat to this, and all of the people who trust me along the way, and they get to bring their own piece to the puzzle. But we very much so operate in the way that the plane's already in the air, and that's when we're adding the duct tape to it and figuring out who the flight attendant is and who the pilot is, and we're missing an engine. That's just kind of how we do things here.
It's okay.
So
before we go real quick, explain to me the flow of money in your organization so I can get a sense of the structure and that.
You're not going to like it because I know that you like.
I suspect I will like it. So go ahead.
Okay. I mean, there's the split to the agent, split to the company. Okay. I don't separate the locations. It's all just one income, and that income, there's no budget. It gets spent on what it needs to get spent on to drive our success, drive our agents, give back to our clients. There's really no rhyme or reason. It's just, what does that day need? What does that week need? What does that month need?
So split wise, what's the split? Yeah. If I have the honor of joining your team, what's the split?
It is 50-50.
Okay, got it.
And there is a sliding scale that I know also controversial, but we recently introduced a couple months ago to take place this calendar year. That is tied to the units that each agent sells is the sliding.
It can go up. Their portion can go up based upon their volume.
Yep.
No, I think that's you're not generating the lead, right?
We are.
Okay, tell me about that.
Our branding is really good. Okay. And back to they don't advertise themselves, they advertise the team. What that looks like is, instead of each agent going out there and trying to fish alone, they now have 6 fishermen standing next to them, or 10 fishermen, or now, 100 fishermen across the country, also mutually casting the same exact line. And so we actually just signed up for our first lead system last week. That's the first time we've ever purchased leads. But with that being said, our agents who are selling 5 houses, 8 houses a month, maybe 1 or 2 deals a year are personal deals for them.
Gotcha. Okay. So where does that, okay. I hear that. I love that. Where does the branding occur? What would be the sources
everywhere.
But okay. So tell me the top 3 or 4.
Facebook is a big one, and Facebook's used in a couple different ways, whether it's their own personal profiles and they're sharing about the PCS Pro team, putting our logo out there, whatever that looks like. We have the team Facebook pages that do a lot of engagement. I think we get a couple million engagement clicks or hits per month on our Facebook page.
And if I'm on the team, can I have an individual Facebook page also?
Nope. Okay. Because whenever you're talking about being a realtor, you should be talking about PCS Pro team. And again, the thing that ties around is you have 5 agents that are out there and they're talking about the PCS Pro team rather than talking about themselves. The exposure that creates, they're going to go back to the PCS Pro team, and that singular agent, that if they went out and talked for themselves and maybe got one lead, now being a part of that, of it feeding back to you, because we don't handpick leads or do any of that. It's round robin. You get what you put into it, kind of a thing. So if you're not putting into it, we're going to get on you to put more into it, or whatever that conversation looks like. So they all know, they go out there and they talk about the PCS Pro team and they market it and they brand it. They know they might not get that exact lead that they said that thing to, but they're going to get 5 more tomorrow. They're going to get 5 more the next day, because it's again, what you put into it comes back around, and it comes back tenfold to everyone who's involved in it.
Okay, so Facebook is the first place. Where would be the next place?
I guess it's mainly Facebook. It's just Facebook in different ways. There's the organic, just their spheres of influence, just talking about the PCS Pro team. Remember back to the whole education piece and teaching them how to educate and teaching them how to talk about those things. They might not get a direct sale from those people, but it's getting the team name out there. It's getting the education out there. So all of it together, again, just our name having the influence that it does around education and service that it does. And obviously the amount of past clients we now have who talk about us, it all just kind of goes back to our website and we don't really track lead sources, because again, it's all organic for the most part.
Are there classes that you curate or that you've created or your business created that your team members can go and teach?
No, we haven't done that yet. That's actually something we're about to start doing.
Okay, so it all occurs online. That education process. Yeah, I would bet it. Well, all businesses, all great businesses, this all happens organically, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You get to a certain level and then you realize, we probably should start doing X, right? And if you read a business book, it would say you should have been doing X from the beginning. But that's not actually accurate. The most great businesses do something, and over time they look up and go, we probably ought to start doing blank, right? And it's just kind of an awareness that it's time. As you grow, the needs for tracking and budgeting will become a necessary thing in order to guarantee your team members that you'll be in business and that the level and the quality of how it's run will constantly be there for them. Because that ultimately becomes your way of fulfilling your promise to them.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
Well, and that's another reason, back to the whole not wanting to go out and hire 5,000 agents, as fun as that might sound to some people, is we're not fulfilling our promise to them if we do that. They're not going to get the training and the care that they need if we do that overnight. Yeah,
size. I understand you. The size of the organization isn't important. What's important is how many people you help. Size will become a result of the desire to drive the mission. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
Well, before I let you go, what's your biggest challenge, do you think? When you wake up in the morning, what's the one thing that you go, okay, I need to work on that?
I wish I had more hours in the day or better organization on how to use those hours. That's probably the biggest thing, because there's 1,000,001 things I want to do. And just to be vulnerable for a second, there's 1,000,001 things I want to do. And I want to pursue them all.
2 words: prioritize and leverage. And here's the truth is, I'll let you go, but here's the truth. The truth is you can't do everything, right? You just can't at one time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why Jay and I wrote the book, The One Thing. You line it up and you prioritize and you say, well, I don't need to do everything. I just need to do the most important thing right now. So never stop writing your ideas down. Never stop. I mean, I have notebooks of it, right? I'm nuts about, we could do that. We could do that. I'd love to see that, right? We should do that. That would be amazing. And then you prioritize and you realize that if you did the most important thing at this moment, everything becomes possible over time. And if you don't do the most important thing, nothing becomes possible over time. And the other thing is just leverage. And that is, you're going to have to let someone do some of the things you're doing so that you get that time back. Because you still want the things done for your business. Part of my education, the guy that I worked for before I walked out, he believed that you just sacrificed everything for business. And his life was kind of messed up. His personal life was kind of a mess. And I saw that and then he tried to suck me into that vortex. And I refused. And I was going to prove to the world that you could go and have a massive personal life and you could have a massive business life. And that's
so funny, because that's something I say often is, I say big, not massive, but that's great too.
Yeah.
You can have a big life and a big career, and
you can. You can have them both. You can. I'm living proof of it. If nothing else, I proved it. You can do it. You can. But you have to prioritize and you have to have leverage. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of your mission, by the way. I really,
thank you.
It as a human being to another, it makes me extremely proud. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Hey, if you want to learn more, just check out these other videos.